If you are watching this video, I know one thing for sure. You're not here to play small. You want to grow, you want to lead, and you want a seat at the executive table. And today, I'm going to give you exact steps that you can take to move from an individual contributor or an early stage manager into the C suite. These are insights that I've gathered over a period of time through my own journey and from mentoring and coaching thousands of leaders across industries. Whether you are in the early stages of your career or already at mid level and are wondering what's next for me, then this video is your blueprint. The path to C suite is not a ladder, it's more like a lattice. It's not just about climbing up, it's about moving strategically. When I started out, I was laser focused on being excellent at my job. I wanted to give 200% to my job. But what I didn't realize at that time was that being great at what you do isn't enough to get you promoted or to get you to the top. You have to understand the business. You have to connect with your work to drive impact, and you have to be seen as a leader before you even have that title. And this means that you're going from doing the work to driving the results to shaping the vision. And that's the leadership trajectory. And this is one trajectory that you can absolutely own. But here's the thing, before you start going, you have to pause and reflect. Where do you actually want to go? Do you want to be a chief product officer leading innovation? Do you want to be a CHRO driving the culture of an organization? Or do you want to be a CEO driving the transformation? It's very important to have clarity around where you want to go, because that's what is going to define the path that you're going to take and the action plan that you're going to build. Each path requires different experiences, so clarity matters. When you don't know where you want to go, where your destination is, it's easy to get stuck in the roles that don't serve your long-term goals. So here's the first action item for you. Take out 30 minutes this week to map out what your dream role looks like. What does a leader do in that role, and what do they know? How do they influence people? Once you know this, then you can reverse engineer. What skills do you need? What roles will stretch you towards that vision? Clarity gives you focus. Focus gives you power. So that is what is most important, to have absolute clarity around where you want to be. Now here's the thing, many of us, when we start out, we're still exploring different functions. We're still exploring what our career is going to look like. What does the corporate landscape look like? It's still important to have some kind of clarity in terms of where you want to be so that you can create some path, knowing that your North Star might change and hence the path would change as well. And now let's talk about skills, because one does not get promoted to C-suite by accident. Here's the deal, and it's always going to be true. Skills that get you hired are not the same skills that you will need to get promoted to executive leadership. You get promoted because you excelled in your previous roles and not necessarily because you're ready for your next role. So you need to build those skills. Yes, you need to have technical depth around your subject area, but most importantly, you need strategic thinking. You need to communicate a vision. You need to influence without authority. You need to manage change. You need to make data-driven decisions, inspire trust. And that's why power skills become so important when it comes to roles in the C-suite. And talking about technology, we are living in an era of rapid technological advancement. If you're not AI literate, you are behind. It really doesn't matter which role you are in, whether you have a technical role or not. You need to have understanding of emerging technology, understanding how AI intersects with your industry, from automation to personalization to risk assessment. It's no longer an option. You need to know how technology impacts your industry. So ask yourself, do I have the right kind of business and technical skills needed for the next level? If not, then what is my learning plan? How do I plan to build those skills to get to the next level? Own your development like you are the CEO of your career. Own your business plan. And if you don't have one, it's time to start creating a business plan for your career. One of the best things that I ever did for my career was to say yes to projects outside my comfort zone. Early on, I started off as a developer, but I quickly raised my hand for cross-functional initiatives that touched sales, customer success, and operations and development Why? Because to lead a business, you have to understand how it works. I always knew that I wanted to run a company, build a company of my own, or run a company at a C level. To do that, I needed a complete understanding of how an organization works. So I very strategically said yes to the projects that gave me that cross functional experience that I needed. When you work across functions, you see patterns, you learn how decisions are made, you understand how stakeholders interact, you build relationships that serve you later. You stop thinking like an employee and you start thinking like an owner, like a CEO of your business. Now, many of the leaders that I coach say that my current role doesn't offer that kind of exposure. If it doesn't offer you that kind of exposure, create it for yourself. Volunteer for a task force, shadow another department, ask to sit in cross department meetings. Proximity to complexity builds strategic depth. If you keep thinking that you want to be in a comfortable position and don't want to stretch yourself, then you would not get the kind of experience and exposure that you need to be part of a C suite. And that brings me to my next point, which is your network. Your network is not just your safety net, it's your growth engine as well. C suite isn't just full of people who have worked hard, it's full of people who are seen and sponsored, who have a wide network that supports them and allows them to step into roles that were not available to them before. Mentors guide you, sponsors advocate for you when you are not there in the room. So if you're just investing your time with mentors, switch gears, find sponsors for yourself, and start investing your time with sponsors. When I was navigating a major pivot in my career, a sponsor of mine connected me to an opportunity that became a game changer. It changed the course of my career. But here's the thing, you don't find sponsors by asking them. You earn the respect and the credibility from your sponsors by delivering value, by being visible, and building that trust over time. If you haven't yet checked my video on how to find and leverage sponsors, please do so now. It's very important to have the right set of sponsors to be able to succeed in the corporate journey. I'll link those videos in the description. And here's another tip that I have for you. Don't just network up. You need to network across and you need to network down. Peers in your network today are the executives of tomorrow. So it's important to network across. Similarly, your team members are going to grow. They're going to have voice in the companies. They're going to be your references. So make sure to network down as well. And one more thing, as you start building relationships, don't just build relationships in your industry, build relationships outside your industry as well. Innovation often comes from unexpected areas and you don't want to be stuck in just one industry. So keep your options open. The best leaders that I know, they are very curious. And this is one thing that I learned early on in my career. You have to really expand your knowledge pool. You have to read broadly, business books, leadership journals, trend reports. Attending webinars, conferences, roundtables really helped me shape up a point of view that was beyond just my subject area or the job role that I had at that time. If your company offers executive development programs, sign up for them. If it doesn't, then create your own learning plan. There's so many people whom I coach who actually leverage some of the education fund that their company provides to use my program to grow in their career. If you ask me one of the things that accelerated my career the most, I would say that I stayed ahead of the industry trends and spoke intelligently about them in the rooms that mattered. And remember that if you're always learning, you're always leading because you're putting out your thoughts and you're inviting others to contribute to those thoughts. And in the process, what happens is that you learn more and you lead more. The next thing that I want to talk about is demonstrating your value and demonstrating your value publicly. This is a part that's uncomfortable for some, especially for women. Visibility is not vanity, it's strategy. You know that you are doing amazing work, but if no one else knows, it doesn't scale your career. So it's important to speak up in meetings. It's important to share your wins with context and how they impact the business. It's important to publish your insights on LinkedIn and other forums. It's important to present at conferences. It's important to mentor others. It's important to sponsor others. It's important to start showing up as an executive that you want to be. When I started writing and speaking at national and international conferences, I was doing it to share my knowledge with others, but I was also doing it to clarify my own thinking and build credibility in the industry. That brand that I built by writing and speaking at various conferences nationally and internationally helped me get into the rooms that I didn't even know existed. And finally, it's very, very important to be visible to the decision makers. The C suite needs to know who you are, what you stand for, and how you deliver impact. You have to find ways to be in those rooms, whether it's presenting in leadership meetings, volunteering for high visibility projects, or being part of company wide initiatives. You cannot wait for your manager or somebody else to provide you an opportunity. You have to be on a constant lookout for those opportunities. Also, it's important to keep track of your impact, quantify it. Tie your work to business outcomes. The more you speak the language of the business, the more you speak the language of the executives, the more you'll be seen strategic. So here's what I want you to remember. The journey from entry level to C suite isn't about waiting for your turn. It's about creating your turn. With the right mindset, skill set, and tool set, you can absolutely get there. So here's what I want to hear from you. What is that one step that you're going to take this month to get closer to your C suite goal? Drop it in the comments. Let's hold each other accountable. If you found this video useful, please like, share, and subscribe. Share it with a friend who might find value in this as well. I'll see you next week with yet another video. Till then, have a successful week. Bye bye.